In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly
and Andrew Fiore.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on, bring it to me. Defend your
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. My name is Sean Donnelly. I am one of your hosts, joined by my very lovable, tall, furry co-host, Andrew Fiore, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Shawnee. Great to be here in wonderful Las Vegas, Nevada.
We are in Las Vegas. We have a live location setting here. We can't disclose our actual. We'll make it a secret. We can't.
Why not?
I don't know. I guess we can. We're in the Rio. We're in Andy's room in the Rio.
We are at the. We've been here all week at the Comedy Cellar, Las Vegas, in their room at the Rio. And thank you to those guys for setting us up with our equipment that we're recording on today.
Yes. Thank you to Liz. Thank you to the Comedy Cellar for letting us use the recorder because you are a lifesaver because we didn't have it. We didn't have anything to use. So we really appreciate it. What do you think? It's been a good week so far, Andy.
It's been a great
think?
week. The shows have been great. It's it's exceeded my expectations, really.
Yeah. It's a great club.
We got here on a Monday, and just from doing shows for years, you go, yeah, Monday, whatever, but you don't realize it. Yeah, both two shows a night have been packed every night, and they've literally just gotten better as the week's gone on.
Yeah, because you forget you're in Vegas. People are coming here to have a good time. So it's not like these people are just randomly stuck in the city they're living in. They're dragged to a random show. They're pretty hot. And that happened last time I was here too. Monday was a really good night, and we've had it where this whole week it's been. Each show gets better and better. The late shows have been great. Everything's been great. We're working with really super funny friends of ours. It's just, if you're in Las Vegas, do yourself a favor because it's become like this cool, we're giving the commercial here, but we are being for real. It's become like this cool thing, I think, to do here. It's like, because there's tons of locals and tons of people come here from other hotels just to go. And I think it's like a little bit less expensive option than maybe some other shows. And you get 5 comics instead of going to see one comic.
Real pro comics, too. It's not, there's not
oh my God, 30-year vets, headliners,
Yeah.
And then me and Andy. But absolutely, definitely if you're in Vegas, come to the Comedy Cellar. It's at the Rio. You can't miss. Every lineup, it's all of our friends. You cannot, it's going to be a good show no matter what.
Absolutely. And if you're still in town this weekend, we're here through Sunday. We know it's going to come out a few hours or maybe a little day late. But
you have 4 more shows you can come see.
Exactly. And that's only because we are doing this live location. We wanted to get a new episode to you guys out this week, even though we're not in our normal studio setup. So we know this one's a little delayed, but we're going to give you a Las Vegas-themed episode.
Yep.
But did you watch anything this week?
I did on the plane. This is what's good about taking trips. You get to watch plane movies. I watched The Big Short on the plane.
Great movie.
I rewatched it, and really, really good movie. Really cool how it's done. I know Adam McKay is the director, right? Adam McKay.
Yep.
And
writer-director. He won an Oscar for the script.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because he kind of, I don't know, I think with that one movie, he kind of set what his tone is, because even when people watched the Dick Cheney movie, Vice, I don't think people liked it as much, but it definitely still had the same Adam McKay feel to it, apparently.
Right.
Maybe the mugging to the camera. And almost like it's a little bit Scorsese-ish when you have them, because that happens in Goodfellas. He talks to the camera a couple of times. It depends on the movie. But it's kind of this more raw, like Adam McKay had a thing where, because he comes from the world of comedy, in The Big Short, where they're trying to explain to you all the boring financial stuff, They go, okay, we know that all this mortgage stuff is boring, so here's Margot Robbie in a bubble bath to do it for it.
Right.
But it kind of works as like an avant-garde film technique
He's
as
got
well.
a good
Like
pace to his movies like that. Yeah, I agree.
So I'm sure people have seen Big Short a million times. It held up. I watched it.
I gotta watch it
I was
again.
interested the whole time.
I remember loving it the first time.
It's so good. That's all I watched, I think. Or did I watch something else? Did I tell you I watched something else or no?
I cannot remember.
But you watched a movie that I want to watch. I want to hear what you have to think about.
Well,
it.
I watched too. I finally watched Avengers Endgame.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that.
What a fucking bore.
Oh
Holy
my
hell.
God, dude. What are you, crazy?
These movies are just not for me. I've come to that conclusion that these movies are just not my cup of tea. Like, I love superhero movies and stuff like that. Like, if I loved I love the Dark Knight trilogy. I love '89 Batman. I even enjoyed a lot of the Spider-Man stuff. But I don't know. It just seems like this when you get this whole 3-hour epic, and you had to shovel in everybody and shoehorn everybody in there, and I just.
But they do it though. You know how hard of a task that is. And I've said it before on the podcast, and these same words. So if I'm repeating myself, sorry. But do you realize taking all those characters, right, putting them into a movie that's succinct enough that the narrative follows through, everything follows through, and it's still entertaining? Maybe not to you, but to tons of people it was.
Yeah, I do.
And a dark twist on top of it. The whole idea of what the basis of the follow-up of the movie was, that half the population of the galaxy was dead, was gone, and they had to save it, right? So, if you think about it that way, man, like the same way that the Dark Knight trilogy really introduced, it had a real-life darker twist on this, they're taking the the comic book world, like straight-up comic world, and making it as dark as you can without dipping into a real life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Without getting to the point where you're like, oh, this is just a straight up movie.
Yeah.
Like the Christopher Nolan Batmans are probably my favorites as well. But I like, because I think what he did was impossible as well, making those just seem like regular thrillers or crime movies or but putting these guys in real world terms. But the Endgame, it was so epic, but at the same time, it wasn't corny. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I thought it was a little corny.
Really?
Yeah.
You thought, all right, how about the one before it? What's the one before it called?
Infinity War.
Okay. Infinity War.
I fell asleep in my hotel room.
You just don't like the characters. There's no winning with you then.
You know what it is? I don't love those batch of characters. You know what I mean? Like, I never grew up with the Avengers. I never really cared until they became movies in my adult life. And it might be too late for me at this point. I tried. I watched all of them. And honestly, because I hear you guys and some of my best friends go, yeah, these movies are so great. I just go, I just don't think it's for me. You know what
it is? I think that the writing. Can you recognize the writing's on point? I think the directing's on point. I don't
think it's anything special. I like to watch movies with a little bit of a critical thumb.
Think about how many shitty movies.
But I didn't think
out.
It was like I didn't take away some. There's some movies I can watch and I'll go, yeah, I didn't love it, but there was this aspect I really didn't feel like that with these. Where I was like, oh yeah, but the writing was crisp. I don't know. It was just like, and here comes the guys from Wakanda, and here comes here comes Ant-Man and Wasp is here. They have a job. Like, come on, a lot of it felt shoehorned to me.
My take on it is, over the years, I did not grow up with the Avengers. I had Avengers comics. I was not a big comic book guy. These movies have proven themselves over the past 10 years so much that I have become fans. So when those guys come on the screen, I'm like, yes, it's like this badass.
Sure.
It's the same way I was talking the other day. One of my favorite scenes, Dark Knight Rises is not the best Nolan one, but one of the greatest things ever was when Batman comes back and he lets the cops out of the cave or whatever it was, and the cops are slowly creeping up on Bane's men, and then Batman flies over as like a
sure, I get that,
whatever it is, and they all go, yeah, they just rush the building. It's badass, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how I feel about that stuff.
Okay,
when you're introducing these guys, it's just like supposed to be. It's supposed to get you psyched on it. But if you're not having fun with it, then you're not having fun with it. And it's actually pretty appropriate that we talked about this now, because there's a story in the news that's going on that I gotta be honest, I think I'd be affected by this. What? But right now, I told you this, and if you guys, and this has been out for a few days, Sony and Marvel, Disney could not.
The Amazon is on fire.
Well, that too. That too.
Where's the Avengers on that one?
No, so Sony and Disney could not come to an agreement as far as like
you're
I don't
upset
know,
about this, buddy.
Dude. Well, I'm not going to watch the new Sony Spider-Mans. It won't happen. Like I'm like visibly upset about this.
We were sitting in the green room the other day, and like everybody's just kind of talking, and you just kind of out of nowhere go, "Dude, I'm really upset about this." I was like, "What was that? Is your family okay?" No, they couldn't reach a deal.
But like, do you realize that really affects what's going to happen in the future of this thing?
I do understand that, yes.
Because Spider-Man, maybe the Avengers I wasn't into, but I was really into Spider-Man. I am really into Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I love the character. I think the Spider-Man they have now, they got Tom Holland. I think that guy
He's
is
a good one.
amazing.
I did like
because
him.
he's an actual kid, and you can only get before he turns like. If he becomes older looking, you can only get maybe you can get 4 more movies out of him, but that'd be great.
Right.
But or whatever they have planned for him. But he was I think he was before this happened, I think he was like the crux of the new universe. Not that he's Tony Stark, but I think all stories would be based on him. So I think that's why villains would show up was because of Spider-Man. I think he was going to be like the new. I don't even know if a leader. I just heard rumors that they called him the new Iron Man. I know. But then you also hear Captain Marvel's the new Iron Man. You hear a million different things. But now, what do you do now where like a major part of your property is gone now? Because that was the thing. That's why they had those Sony ones before, because they didn't have the property. That's why Spider-Man was absent from the world before. And then when they finally got him with Homecoming and Far From Home, whatever it was, this new one, how much better are those than the other Spider-Mans, the Tobey Maguires?
Yeah. I actually enjoyed the very first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
I liked it, but I watch these now, and I'm like, I enjoy these way better.
I hated all the sequels.
Especially Homecoming.
Yeah, I didn't like the sequels. I thought the Andrew Garfield ones were okay, too.
I never saw them.
But, this kid's a good Spider-Man. I'll give that to you.
Great Spider-Man.
Well, I'm sorry, pal.
Yeah, this is like, I got divorced, and I'm as upset. No, I'm kidding. But
not more.
But I really, because it really, I'm hoping there's going to be such this is where internet trolls can do a positive thing where they can be so loud that they can force these two companies to be like, oh, we'll lose so much money.
I could see that.
You know what I'm saying?
I could see that.
They've done it before with stuff where they're like, hey, last minute, the 19th hour, they went, we actually came to an agreement, and then you watched something else.
Yes, I watched a movie in my hotel room right here at the fabulous Rio Hotel. It was a movie I wanted to see in the theaters. I never got around to it, but it was Brightburn, which is kind of a offshoot of the Superman story, where it's even in Kansas. It's a little meteor or whatever hits on a couple trying to have children and can't.
Yeah,
and
so
then,
same Superman backstory.
Exactly, and they find this baby, but he's evil. That's the twist. He's a bad man.
Bad baby.
He's a bad baby with superpowers.
That'd be funny if there was a line in it where it's just like, this is a really bad baby.
He's they become up from the doctor and go, this baby is a bad baby.
Wait, so are you kind of getting the vibe of it right away?
It flash forwards to them finding the child. It flash forwards 10 years later.
Okay.
And he's 12 years old, and he's super smart, like in the top 1% of his high school, whatever that's called.
Class?
And, if I was smarter, I would have been able to come up with the word. But he's really smart, and then you start seeing the signs of him realizing that he has these abilities.
Yeah.
Because the parents, Elizabeth Banks, and the guy who played Roy from The Office, I don't know his name.
Oh, is that who they are? The
But
parents?
he's the parents. Yeah, Elizabeth Banks is great in this.
David Denham or something like that. His name is.
Yeah, you might be right. Actually.
Sometimes I pull names out of my ass.
I think that's pretty spot on. But they kept whatever kind of vessel he came in like their barn, and it starts to kind of call to him.
Oh.
And I don't want to give...
So it was like a ship type of thing.
Yeah, kind of whatever little crater he came in. I don't want to give too much away, but spoiler alert, he starts to communicate with him, and he starts to realize that he has these abilities. He's super strong. He's basically got Superman powers. He can fly. He's super strong. He's got laser eyes, and they cut away to Roy at one time go, they're starting to realize also something's a little off with him too, because he's got some dark tendencies.
Yeah,
and he's starting to just become a little weirdo.
Oh,
where
shit.
he answers things weirdly. The kid does a good job, whoever the actor is, but David Denham's like, this he's never had a scratch on him his entire life. He's never been cut once. We've never seen him. He's like, something's not right, And then he's responsible for some bad shit that happens throughout the town.
Oh shit!
And he has just zero remorse whatsoever. And you're like, that's kind of cool. It's a kind of a cool change.
It's a really cool change up.
And I won't give away the ending, but because I think it's worth a watch in my opinion. It moves a little slow at times, building up to the real action, the real meat and potatoes of the film. But it's worth it to watch it through. Elizabeth Banks is really good. She's a solid actress, man. Like, she can do comedy. She could do... She was the perfect, mother. She's like, I'll love you no matter what. And then it gets to this big ending, and you're like, oh, okay. It was a cool ending. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I would recommend it. It's worth a watch. It was a good hotel room watch.
Yes. Well, I wanted to see it when it came out, and now I want to check it out.
Yeah.
Because you also checked the Rotten Tomatoes on it, and we were surprised that it was
middling
low.
results.
Yeah, middling results.
But
and speaking of meat and potatoes, should we get to the meat and potatoes?
Let's get to the meat and the potatoes. This is a very on-location meat and potatoes.
Yeah, we figured we're in Vegas. Why not do as the Vegasans do and talk Vegas movies? And the way we thought, we were like, should we pit stuff against each other? And actually, one of the things, the two movies that pop up in our heads, the forefront of our brains are Ocean's 11 and Casino.
Correct.
And Casino is those are coming from two different places and two different time frames, but they're both crime movies. And they're both, totally different types of movies.
Completely different.
And it's funny, because me and Andy, we agree. Sometimes me and Andy are the same people. So we both said the same thing. We said we both would pick Ocean's 11, which I feel like is blasphemous to a lot of people out there. They're thinking, how are you picking it over Scorsese? Because you have to take Scorsese as a whole. Nobody does that. Scorsese movies become gospel after a while, where people just they assign to them blindly.
Right.
But Casino is not one of his best. Casino, it's not that it's not entertaining.
I love Casino. I adore Casino.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite.
No, not at all. Me
and
neither.
It's not my favorite Vegas movie.
Right, exactly. I would say Ocean's 11 is probably my favorite Vegas movie.
I would agree.
And you want to talk about impossible tasks, as far as, like I said, with Avengers and Endgame. Impossible task, you're a remake and you're better than the original? Never.
Right.
In the history of filmmaking.
Right.
I said this before, never has that happened.
Have you watched the original Ocean's 11? It's not that great.
No, it's not that great. I saw it when I was a kid. Not that great.
Yeah.
The only thing people loved is the cast. And this has a good cast and a good story and a cool feel to it. It's Soderbergh. The script is great.
It's got great twists. It's
Even the
just
sequels are fun enough.
And here's the thing. I can watch both of these movies, both pass my flip test. I have now watched Ocean's 11 maybe close to 100 times. Just because it's a fun-loving movie. It's a caper movie. And it's just, I'm happy when I'm watching it. I love everybody in the movie. It's such a great ensemble. They're so fun. They all work perfectly together. But you know how hard to do with 11 actors to get everybody gelling and having that chemistry and making that kind of big epic crime movie, which I love the ingenuity of that stuff too. The cleverness that goes into
I love that too.
The schemes and stuff.
The tricks where you're like, how is this going to pay off?
Even when you know all the stuff that's happening, you go, I love that.
It just reminded me of a great scene in Ocean's 11 where they're planning the scheme, and while they're in there, you just see from the inside of the truck, you see an air freshener, but you don't know what the truck is. They don't show you the outside the truck. And it turns out, if you haven't seen it, it's 20 years old, the movie. But it turns out it's the SWAT truck from the end.
Right.
So they had exactly what was going to happen. They knew it was going to happen the whole time. The whole thing was set up from the get-go. And it's so cool to think, that's the same truck they were in talking when they were hashing out other stuff for the scheme.
Yeah.
But you're not let in on it, but you kind of are. You're foreshadowed because of the air freshener.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool filmmaking that way.
Brad Pitt's always eating for some reason.
Yeah,
He's always got,
I think there's some kind of behind the scenes thing on that. But like you said before, how they work so well together. I was watching an interview with John Goodman the other night. They all are good friends, those guys. Like, that's why I think it works so well. And like, I guess it transfers to film because they did, I was watching a Howard Stern interview with John Goodman and for some reason Howard Stern knew that during Monuments Men, John Goodman would hang out in his trailer and not hang out with them, not to mess up their dynamic. Because he knew that
that's interesting.
they were friends. He goes, he even says in the interview, he's like, they're great guys. He goes, they're great guys, but I'm just not close with them, and you know, I didn't want to get in the way, you know, whatever it was. And then he talked about how, this is a side thing, but George Clooney bought everybody bikes when they were filming Monuments Men, and then he would just go take bike rides with Bill Murray, and they would just get lost taking bike rides.
That's cool.
Him and John Goodman. But that's why these guys work together. Like Clooney, Damon, Pitt, even Bernie Mac in the first one. Like,
Bernie Mac's great.
So great. They're all
Better talk to him.
What?
Better talk to him.
But that's the other thing too. And I think I mentioned this last time we talked about Ocean's 11 on the podcast.
Yeah, we pit it against Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Feeney, still wrong.
Yeah. Andy Garcia. I think I mentioned this last time. Same thing.
Great heel.
Great heel in real life. Didn't 100% get along with the guys. Didn't fit in with the group.
Works perfectly.
Whenever you have a movie where that happens, even though I've kind of felt bad because he seems like a nice enough guy.
Yeah.
But whenever you have a movie that happens, like we talked about Dreyfus and what about Bob, and we talked all these guys, the actual clashing comes across on the screen and makes for movie magic, basically, happening. So when it comes to Ocean's 11, I think it was probably before they made it. I don't think they would have thought it would be this really great. Like, name a better Vegas movie, because also another hard task, Andy, is that it's a modern day. Like, if you have Casino, right? It's about the heyday. You have the outfits.
Yep.
You have the mob involved. This doesn't have the mob involved.
Right.
You had, it's it really was a period piece. But they also apparently screwed up Casino. Casino, the guy, Ace Rothstein was not De Niro. That was probably, I think if we saw, I don't think there is video of, Ace Rothstein, but there might be. But I've heard that totally different. Flamboyant guy, not an actual hard, kind of, just that's why he had the mob behind him. I think because he kind of was hiding behind the mob a little bit.
Yeah.
De Niro, you look at De Niro, you're like, that's De Niro. He's fucking Jimmy Conway from Goodfellas.
Exactly.
And then it came out so close to Goodfellas that you're like,
right.
It's the same character. But it wasn't. Because look at all the clothes they put him in. It's super flashy. And you're like, something's off when you're watching it. You're like, oh, that's also the part with the pants is pretty funny when he doesn't wear pants at his desk.
Right.
Somebody comes to his office and he gets up, gets the pants from his closet, and puts them on. Like, that's not a De Niro move to me. I don't know.
Keep a perfect crease in your pants by not sitting them. There's the Seinfeld.
Yeah.
The Maestro.
So the Maestro. But you know what I'm saying?
The place to be. Then I shall be there.
It's the place to be.
Billiards room. He goes, no, not a billiards room. Anytime Frank Costanza and Kramer buddy up on a caper, I love it.
Oh, it's the best. That's fantastic.
It's a billiards room. No, it's a...
so ridiculous.
Not to derail you, but yes, I agree.
So anyway,
so
that's my point. My point being, Casino...
But and that's why I love Casino, too, is because I love throwback period pieces that...
Sure.
Are from a time where I didn't get to experience it in real life.
Same here.
And it's especially stuff I love. We both love mafia stuff, and I love anything that's tied into that. And I honestly, it's just going to sound weird, but I love watching from an outsider. I love the crime aspects. It's a part of life I'll never be involved in.
Yeah.
So I enjoy watching.
Yeah.
All those mafia tales and just this guy, just how they ran the town.
And there's badass scenes in Casino when he stabs the guy with the pen.
Yeah. Nicky Santoro's a great character.
Great character.
He's a great character. Sharon Stone doesn't get enough credit for her.
Apparently in real life, Nicky Santoro, I think 6'4", 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Scorsese's
going to cast him with his voice.
He had carte blanche at that point. He could do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yeah.
So it didn't have to be for real,
I always remember watching Saturday Night Live right when Casino came out and David Spade doing Hollywood Minute. And he goes, Casino opened this weekend. I really liked this movie the first time when it was called Goodfellas.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I wanted to ask you. Casino, it's still regaled as a great movie, but would it have been better, thinking back, if he would have waited 5 years then did Casino? I also think it would have been a different movie.
I think it still would have had the same comparisons, but yeah, I agree. I don't know.
Because he could air out. He'd be a different place creatively. He could have maybe done a different casting.
No, it was 5 years. It was 90 to 95, I think. Casino came out, so it was 5 years.
So it was 5 years. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow, you're right. Oh, wow. All right, so say 10 years. So say when he got later in his career, when he was doing like Kundun, and
probably.
What?
Probably.
Yeah. But you know what? The more I think about it, because even looking at it now with The Irishman coming out, which it's good we're talking about it now because that comes out pretty soon, I think. I can't wait to see that.
Can't wait. September, in a month. Literally a month.
Anything that resembles this type of movie, he's like, I got to bring these guys back for as many of these guys that I can get. Mike Keitel's, my De Niro's. Yeah.
I said it before, but Sharon Stone is so good in this too. So good in her role.
It's the best thing she's done.
I think so.
It's hands down the best thing she's done.
So good. She portrays that Vegas kind of, I don't know what kind of.
She plays a good grifter.
She's a grifter. Perfect word. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And James Woods is also amazing.
Yeah.
And to make their relationship playing just a pimp, a shitty guy. Just, people like that who just, no matter what, they're going to just try and scam. And
sure.
It's so really underrated kind of smaller roles. Not that her role was small, but.
No, hers was pretty big, but you're right about him. He's great in it. And they put him perfectly. They put him in that white denim outfit with the mustache.
It's so good.
Just, you want to punch him in the face when he's pulling all the bullshit.
There's a point when Ace catches them at out at that diner.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He does that little thing where he's like, has a chance to say something, and he thinks better of himself, and then almost does it again. It's like that's the kind of guy where it's like, even though he knows he shouldn't, he still
wants to.
And then but then he almost does it again. It's just like, and he gets up and leaves, and
But that's also there's another example that right after that part in that same scene. Another reason why De Niro's not a good pick for his character, because there's a line that she says where she's like, you can't even do it yourself, because they beat him up in the car. Remember, they beat James Woods up in the car.
Yeah.
He goes, come here, I want to show you something. But he's acting tough, but he's not tough. The guy's not
the
tough
real
real life guy.
Yeah.
So it's weird that he's like, be a man, get out of here. But he's saying be a man, but he won't touch him. He won't punch him in the face.
Right.
So that's what I mean by off casting. That's what I mean by you're like De Niro. You would think De Niro would just do whatever he wanted.
And that makes more sense when you find out that he's going on TV and has a TV show, because it always feels so off.
Yeah.
Where once you find out the real Ace Ross, you're like, oh, yeah, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
For that kind of guy to do.
That's what he was. That's the type of guy he was.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But with De Niro doing it, they kind of made it work because they were like, oh, yeah, he's going to be awkward on it. But I'm sure the actual TV show was he wanted to be in the spotlight, that guy.
Showman.
So, yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. They missed the mark there. And Ocean's 11, I'd say it's a nailed together movie from beginning to end.
It's solid.
Just because the fact that the whole scheme's worked out from the beginning to end.
Yeah.
So it's so much more. It's more entertaining to watch. Time wise, we can talk about that. Casino's too long. Ocean's 11 isn't.
Casino's long.
But
it never feels too long to me. Because like I said, it's still a movie I love and enjoy.
Oh no, totally.
Yeah, I never had that too long complaint. You know what I mean?
No, but I'm just saying, looking back. So it's if you're looking for things to critique about it,
okay,
that's one of the things. So if you're coming off of Goodfellas, and this comes out, you're comparing it to Goodfellas.
Yeah.
So that's
Goodfellas, the perfect length, the perfect tight package of
the
which is what Ocean's 11 is.
The story's better. The what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's what Ocean's 11 has. And like I said, the harder task is not that it's two different movies. I'm not saying that they have to, that Casino has to do this, but I mean they did. It was a post Frank Sinatra Casino. A Casino movie making it still look Frank Sinatra era, with how Soderbergh shoots it, the coloring, even the coolness of the guys in there. It made those guys movie
Fight
stars
night,
to me.
yeah.
Like Clooney, Clooney to this. I'm a me.
Oh,
we do the Clooney thing.
Love him.
Oh my god, I love him. I think he's great.
I think he's great too.
I think he's a movie star. I think Brad Pitt's a movie star.
Absolutely.
And that
100%.
Ocean's 11 is a big piece in that puzzle.
The sad thing is too, 2 not great sequels. I don't love 12 and 13 really at all.
I don't mind them. They're not as good as the first one.
They're tedious to me, and
I think just having that whole crew together again.
Yeah,
it just becomes they just become straight up sequels. But they're like, at least they're fun and they're not just a disaster.
12 better than 13. 13 is just kind of like, all right, we didn't need this movie. 12, you got the.
They were like, hey, we had to bring Pacino in on this.
right. At least in the Ocean's 12, you've got, Andy Garcia's character catching them and finding them out and them scramble. That's a fun plot.
Well, yeah, at least they're kind of like, that's how you have to dig themselves out of a hole.
Right.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. As a side thing here, could we consider Godfather a Vegas movie? Godfather, is it 2? When they go to Vegas? Yeah,
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
With Mo
yes.
Green? No, this is the first one.
I think so. Well, it's a Nevada movie. Michael moves the family to Nevada.
Yeah.
Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
But still, a large part of it is in Vegas. It's a great...
Mike, you don't come to Las Vegas and talk to a man like Mo Green like that?
Yeah, it's a large part of the movie. It's, it's because they're trying to do... they're trying to turn Cuba into the next Vegas.
Right.
And,
Hyman Roth.
With Hyman Roth. He never trusted him, did business with him, but he never trusted him.
It's freaking great.
That's a great, we didn't even think of that.
I didn't think of that. I just thought of it now.
Movies. That's a great one. I had one that we didn't think of originally too. But to go back to Godfather 2, yeah, great. I mean, Fredo, I'm going to learn the casino business, Pop. Poor Fredo, man.
Oh my God.
But yeah, you just hate to see, God, they nailed his character so well because you immediately get to see, he's just the lack. He's the guy who gets walked over even when he's out away from his family.
Well, he has that personality.
Exactly.
The assertiveness. He's also supposed to be slow.
Right. But it's also even when a guy who obviously smacked him around a little, he's still like, hey, Mo just flies off the handle once in a while. He's still sticking up for that guy.
Yeah.
Dude, come on, stand up for yourself a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
He's making cocktail waitresses 2 at a time, but still.
He was banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time. Alex Rocco.
Dude,
great.
Me and DePaulo used to do that. Fredo's entrance when Michael comes, he does that little skip and jump and he flourishes his arms out when he opens and the band starts up.
Oh yeah.
Fredo does this little twirl dance move and we used to do it.
You mean when he comes to the hotel room?
Michael immediately goes, what the hell is it? Get him out of here.
Dude, that movie, there's so many good scenes in that. There's so many good parts in that movie. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's so much fun. You know what it is? The first time you're watching it, and then when Michael realizes that Fredo's the one that fucking sold him out, and then you're watching it like, oh, you idiot.
Yeah.
When he's like, old man Roth, he never would come here, but Johnny
Ola knows his places like the back of his hand. Old Johnny Ola, who is Dominic Chianese.
Yeah. Well, John. Well, also. Do you think, here's a question, is the Fredo character more iconic years later because John Caselli died?
John Cazale, yeah. I think he's just got that lore about him of the 5 movies he's in are 5 of the greatest movies of all time.
The guys like the LeBron James of dead movie actors.
It's Deer Hunter, Godfather 1 and 2, Dog Day, and there's one more that I can't think of. But all were Best Picture, if not winners, nominees. And I don't know. I think that character probably would have stood up without, even if he had.
I think you're right. As I said,
because they all do. Even James Caan turned out to be whatever you want to, his acting career. But Sonny is the
James
character.
Caan, I think James Caan stands out more than Fredo does in that movie. James Caan is such a freaking force in that movie. It's insane. And I think that made his career. I think that made James Caan's career.
Probably made everybody's career.
Yeah, good point.
An underrated movie that I just thought of that wasn't on even any of our lists that we looked up when we were preparing for this. Heart 8. Paul Thomas Anderson.
Heart 8. I've only seen Heart 8 once.
I own the DVD. It's a great movie, and you can see the Paul Thomas Anderson-ness of it in what his later movies became. It's his one before Boogie Night. I think it's his first film. I don't know the Paul Thomas Anderson that well. But I think it's his first
I think it is.
one, and it's a Vegas movie.
It's got not
Gwyneth
Ben Gazzara.
Paltrow.
Is it Ben Gazzara? No, it's Bookman. Isn't it Bookman in it?
Yeah, it's got Philip Baker Hall, John C.
yeah.
Reilly, Gwyneth Paltrow, and they're It's a really great, underrated movie. Just a good Vegas kind of burnout. This is what happens when you let the town get the best of you. There's crime in there. He's got to his girlfriend has to turn to prostitution. Just and he's got to climb out of debt. It's just that it's like that classic story.
Did he write that too?
I think he
did.
Yeah.
I think you're right. He's amazing, huh? Paul Thomas Anderson. He's just amazing. And then,
so definitely, especially if you're fans, you can see him set the seeds of what Paul Thomas movies became in Hard A. It's kind of like it's the bottle rocket to Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then if you, like you said before, you brought up not Hard A. Oh, you brought up The Cooler as well, which is William H. Macy, which is such a cool idea. And I wonder, do you really think
Nothing cooler.
Do you think it exists? Like, you think that's a thing? They have a guy who's sent over to cool off a table? That's the whole idea.
I don't put anything by this town.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Exactly. William H. Macy plays a guy who, his main job is to, if somebody's on a hot streak, they send him over to gamble at the table, or it was just stand there.
Exactly.
And so the guy starts losing, or whatever it is, which is one of the most saddest things ever. But it makes me think, because I know comics that are coolers of comedy shows.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to name names here, but I know guys have seen, and this is also not as much anymore, but back in the day, open mic scenes, man, I know a couple of guys that really could just fucking kill whatever good vibes were in a room for a comedy show. So I always thought of them as the cooler of audiences, instead of gambling,
Well, speaking of comedy, a very fun Vegas movie is the original Hangover.
Yes, it's
really
amazing.
Fun Vegas movie without even really having too much to do with Vegas.
Hangover, man, is okay. The way I want to say about that is that because what's happening now, there's a total changeover. Movies aren't in the forefront anymore. TV is the high art form of media right now. That's why people they'll binge watch series. They'll do this because but even more so. The slapstick idiotic comedy is kind of on its way out. Name something. Hangover harkens back to even if it's a Dumb and Dumber or where it's so ridiculous. Or
I think it's well done. Where I wouldn't actually call it slapstick.
Not slapstick, but it's.
Is this a lot of?
But it's gross out. It's.
I wouldn't even say gross out. It's. I think it's a clever script, and it's really well acted.
No, I'm saying it's good.
Yeah, but pinning it down to one of those things, I don't think it's not deserving of that movie. I think it's a solid, really funny movie that I don't know, maybe the bro-y aspect of it.
What I'm just trying to say about that sentence is that there's not as many of those that pop up
for sure.
stand out anymore. That's what I mean, as far as comedies go. And you don't have to put it in a category. I'm just saying that's one of the last ones that people oh, yeah, we're getting 3 sequels out of that.
Again,
yeah.
Sequels just can't hold up.
No, those sequels are bad.
Sequels are bad.
Bad.
And the first one is so funny. Really, it shot Ed Helms and Zach Galifianakis to superstardom.
Yes.
And Bradley Cooper was kind of on his way there, but he is so good. You don't want to love Bradley Cooper, but it's impossible not to. In anything. Yeah. I loved him in everything he does. He's just solid. He's funny. He can do
you
drama.
You saw Star is Born or no?
Yeah.
We might have talked about it already.
I think we talked about it.
I talked about how I'm because Bradley Cooper, I think he's great. But Star is Born fucked me up because he's such a pretty boy.
Yeah,
the ending of Star is Born messed with me. I did not see it coming because I'm there's no way they would do this to him. Whatever it is. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, but people probably know. But how they finished it off, I was oh no, I did not think that would happen because it's Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
If he was more grizzled, I'd be if it was Jeff Daniels, I'd be yeah, this is going to happen. But Bradley, you know what I mean? Where it's or even what's his name that I love that's from Hell or High Water, Ben Foster.
Right.
Ben Foster, that's who, to be honest, if you're making, I know that was a passion project for Bradley Cooper, he spent a lot of time to make that movie and to get it made. But damn, imagine Ben Foster and the Bradley Cooper role in Star is Born.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be badass.
It'd be interesting.
I think that'd be badass.
But going back to The Hangover, he's a perfect. He's not the comic book because he's very funny in it, but he's kind of the straight man of the trio, really, because Doug is, the guy just lost.
Yeah.
But I mean,
well, it's so fun. That guy who plays Doug, I forget his name.
Nobody knows.
He just lucked out. He's known for being the Hangover. He's in the movie 10 minutes of movie.
I
Not
know.
even. He's like,
I know. I saw him like in Law and Order one time. I'm like, hey, it's Hangover guy.
Yeah. I think his name's like Justin something or Josh something.
Nobody will ever know.
He's the guy from National Treasure.
But yeah, it's like I was going to say though. They use Vegas as just a jumping off point. They just go, yeah, some guys just can't handle Vegas. The movie has nothing to really do with Las Vegas. It's like,
you're right.
It's just them, partying, obviously, and then just trying to recover their friend. But it's like you don't see them doing the Vegas things, which I love. It just does that time lapse into the next morning, and you go, oh, I thought the first time I saw this, we were going to see their adventures throughout Vegas all night.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, they had to piece it together.
Afterwards, yeah. So it's interesting that, and then, hilarious cameos, Tyson, and, what was it? I had another point to the finish of, where I was going with that, and now I completely lost it.
Oh, all right. Well, that's all right. But yeah, but I
got distracted by something at the pool.
What'd you say?
I got distracted by something at the pool.
It is an iconic Vegas movie. Even though
I was. I heard
go ahead.
It was like you didn't. One of the funnier things that I haven't seen in a while too, which really makes me laugh, is when they're showing the they're going through the pictures of the camera. So you do get that payoff of seeing what they got into the night before.
Yeah, but not until the very end of the movie.
Which is a fun way to do that too.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So it's some pretty X-rated stuff in there.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
It's hilarious.
That's what I mean. Like it's like Porky's. It's like shock value type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like where they're trying to gross you out or shock you as well as make you laugh.
We got to wrap up in about 10 minutes, but I know you and I both aren't like whizzes on this movie. Leaving Las Vegas, I saw it when it originally came out, and it was too dark for me at the age I was. Do you know what I mean? Like I just couldn't wrap my head around it at the time, and then I've gone back and watched it as as a fully formed, very unintelligent adult. And I do. This is why Nick Cage is such a mystery, because he can pull off a performance like this, but then just be completely Looney Tunes with other shit that he does.
Well, if you think about it, you have to see where the basis of the performance is. So, like that one, leaving Las Vegas. Is it leaving Vegas or leaving Las Vegas?
Leaving Las Vegas.
Okay. That one, it was at the end of the run before people were like, he's bad shit. Like it was still when he was relegated as like this, this artist, or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, because I mean,
I don't think he was making like action movies and stuff like that, but then he just went off the rails, I feel like.
Well, if you follow the time, I think Leaving Las Vegas was also 95. And
so was Con Air, right? Or Con Air was...
I don't remember what Con Air was. 96, but yeah. He had a great start, Raising Arizona. I think it was his first feature lead. His first role, I think, ever is Fast Times.
He's actually in Peggy Sue Got Married. I think
that's right.
Yeah. And he's great in that, too.
But that's after Raising Arizona. Raising Arizona is for his 87. It's before
really?
Peggy Sue.
Okay.
And his actual first one is Fast Times as Nicholas Coppola.
Oh, that's right.
He's part of the Spicoli gang.
That's right.
With Eric Stoltz, all three young actors.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's brilliant in it. I don't love the movie as much as a lot of other people do. I go, yeah, it's a good movie. Elizabeth Shue's fine in it.
Love Elizabeth Shue.
I understand. Yeah, it's that dark side to Las Vegas, the dark side to this town.
Yeah.
And he's just an
I'll
alcoholic.
never not have a crush on Elizabeth Shue.
She was great in The Boys.
She's great in The Boys.
Yeah.
But Karate Kid, never. I think that was my first crush.
Chrissy, yeah.
Yeah, Allie with an I.
So yeah, I don't really have too much.
Then we brought up the other one, 21.
21 is a fun movie.
It's a fun movie. It's not the greatest movie. And but you want to tell what the story is?
21 is a bunch of Harvard kids essentially figuring out how to really count cards very well.
It's like this math
using
team
their
just for counting cards.
Basically the math team. But the tricky part is that is not being made by the casino that you're cheating, which technically it's not cheating, but it's frowned upon.
Yeah,
because
and they'll pull you aside.
Yeah,
and they have a very strongly worded advisory.
Yeah, you get banned from casinos, and we've all seen the casino scenes, the back rooms.
Yeah.
So,
Cheater's justice. That's what they say in Casino.
Yeah.
When they bring it back, cheater's justice.
You want the money or the hammer? I just want to get it. But I like, it's
He goes, the money and the hammer, or that's the money and the hammer together. Is that what it is?
No, he goes, you can have one or the other. You can walk out of here with the hammer, or you can, you walk out of here with the money. I forget.
Yeah.
You can walk out of here with the money and the hammer, or you can just walk out of here. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I just want to get it.
Yeah. That's it. I just want to get out of here. Yes.
But it's a true story.
With the nerdy guy's going up to count the money at the cave. He goes, "That's 7."
Oh, the Great Rickle scene.
How are you? He went, send over a bucket of ice too, as well.
He's great. So, it's Ben Mesrick, if I'm saying his name right. It's based on the books. It's a real book, Bringing Down the House. They changed it to 21, and it's not like anything spectacular, but it's a fun movie. It's a true story, which always adds a little coolness to it.
Yeah, it probably, to be honest, with the different things behind it, it probably could have been a way more. They probably took a lot of license on it, like because they make it so stylized. They have there's one scene where at one point they have like the fake the fake casino in the back of a Chinatown laundromat or something,
right.
and then he, like, Kevin Spacey just controls the entire casino. Like,
yeah,
it's not even real, right? Isn't there a thing with that where
I think so? It's been a while,
and they want to see if he can deal with counting the numbers in this like fake casino. But it's like you would have no reach to build an entire casino,
right?
Or entire back room, like illegal card room, whatever you want to call it. I think it taps into people's like. It's exciting because it taps into like, ooh, imagine like making all this money, and and there's like a fantasy thing of like, oh man, it was such a cool idea, and it really happens when you hear it's a true story. You're like, oh man, that's nuts,
And then I guess we can wrap up with I don't know how much you enjoy it. I've always loved the movie. It's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Fear and Loathing,
another
I like.
True, well, we don't know how true. But I guess another true story.
I always wondered what Hunter S. Thompson would have thought of the movie.
Yeah.
I have this feeling like he would have hated it. I don't know why. I think it's fun.
It's crazy.
It's batshit crazy.
It's batshit crazy.
One of my favorite things is doesn't he send the lawyer home at one point? They just have the lawyer waving from the tarmac, whatever it is. And then at one point, a really funny scene when they go see Debbie Reynolds and they're on acid and they come out, start laughing, and they have to be led away by security because it's like Debbie Reynolds singing like rock and roll hits or something, and they can't take it. It's too funny for them. But it's also a thing where it's like I can't relate to the movie. I think it's like the novel is so generation specific.
Yeah.
And I think Johnny Depp's awesome. I think in it, and I think it's interesting. And it's
a drug fueled mayhem.
Yeah.
And they do a good job of capturing that. It is funny, I think, where you used to probably be able to get away with stuff like that, where like the hotel room is completely destroyed. To the point where there's like, it's like how did you flood the? You know what I mean? And
at one point, doesn't he like say he's a different name? And
he's just like, my lord, good God, man. Yeah, he just
he gets in his car and he's
holy
like,
shit, man.
Flees the scene.
But I think this town used to it was that like adult playground where you could literally, that's where What Happens in Vegas Stays in Vegas comes from.
Yes.
Whereas like you could get away with a lot.
Oh, I think it was the Wild West.
West. So that's the cool thing that I think it does definitely not, which brings us back to the final monologue of Casino, where Ace is just kind of like, it's Disney World now. You got people coming in, losing their college, losing their mortgage payments. You got the senior citizens. It's just not what it was. But in the
it totally
end,
is, because even walking around here as we're here. How many older people do you see?
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, you were still doing the speech. Sorry, go ahead.
And then the greatest sunglasses of all time.
Oh yeah, the blue blockers. My dad used to have those, like the amber visions, whatever they call them. Yeah. What's the last line? He goes, "In the end."
He's like, I could always, he just went back to like handicapping.
Yeah. But I think there's a line where he says, "In the end,
I'm not that up
it's all about the money." That's what he said. He goes, "I think he goes in the end."
I can still pick winners.
Yeah. And yeah, he's basically they show him watching horse racing and picking winners.
Yep.
But
and that's how that is part is true. Ace Raw, he just like moves back to San Diego. I think lived a long life, just handicapping and becoming because that
he was valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
So I don't know. There's some other entries obviously that we didn't get to. Give us a shout out if you want to join in.
What's your favorite Vegas movie?
In the Las Vegas conversation.
I feel like we got the big ones. You know,
We got the big ones.
Here's the thing. Another thing. This is what I wanted to bring up. Lastly, you know, you're gonna. I think a lot of people are gonna say you said Viva Las Vegas before with Elvis Presley. I will say this, man. For a town that was like Elvis Presley's town, you don't see any mention of Elvis anymore in Vegas.
Yeah,
we've been to a couple. I've been to a couple different casinos since I've been here. Walking around, you don't even see people with like Elvis shirts on or anything.
You don't even
or
see like a statue, just like even throwbacks or pictures or posters. Nothing.
Now maybe there's other areas like other casinos where he was like known
That's
for.
Such a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't see shit.
You don't even even the Rat Pack kind of stuff. I don't see that much anymore.
Yeah, I think they used to have. It's funny. Somebody tagged Mark, our friend Mark, who's the host of the shows this week. He was in the Rat Pack Revival show, and somebody must have had an old picture and they put it on Instagram. So I think they do that every so often when they bring that kind of stuff back. Yeah. But you don't see it like. I think it's kind of buried at this point. Like all you see now is like Cirque du Soleil stuff or like or whatever big flashy stuff that you see. Casino to casino, and just to get people to like go to these events.
Yeah,
you know, in our hotel they have the zip line that looks pretty cool, but like it really is Disney. Like he wasn't wrong in that part of the script. Like it's not. I feel like back in the day it would have felt like this cool adult playground. Yeah.
And now it's complete. It's like it's family hour. It's
Yeah. But we're having fun.
Absolutely. So we're like, get this episode out to you. If I can figure out a way to get this off the SD card, I'll tinker around with it. We'll hopefully get it out to you guys sooner than later. But like I said, chime in if you got some favorite Vegas movies. You can always reach us at Defend Your Movie. Thank you so much. We've had a lot of interaction lately on the Twitter feed. So
keep doing it.
Please, we love hearing from you guys. And as we always say, tell a friend because spreading the show word of mouth seems to be the most popular way to do it. So if you enjoy it,
we're at Defend Your Movie on Twitter. So on Twitter, and then we're also defendyourmovie@gmail.com. Send us an email. Let us know your thoughts.
We'll eventually reply. We know there's some guys waiting in the queue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some guy actually was like, did I get the email wrong? That's Sean's part.
Also, let us know what Vegas movies did we forget. Even if it is an Elvis one, send it over. We'll talk about it. There's a lot of Elvis movies I haven't watched. So that's why.
Yeah, same
here. But thank you guys so much for listening. Also, I'm at Shawnee Time on Twitter and Instagram. And Andy, you're on.
I am at Andy Fiori. That is ANDYFIORI across all social media. Give me a follow on Instagram. Give me a follow on Twitter, and listen to me say your name and shit. And you can find all my tour dates at andyfiori.com. I have a radio show on SiriusXM as well as Shawnee. My show is called The Raw Report. It is live every Thursday at 4 p.m. on SiriusXM 99. Sean, you also have a show on that channel.
I do. It's called Celebrate. We do it once a month. We go live. It's usually a Wednesday. It's usually about the third Wednesday of every month. And then we're available on the app right afterwards. And we celebrate one topic a month.
Very cool. Where
Thank you guys.
We find you? You got any upcoming dates?
Yes. Next week I'll be at Zanies in Chicago. I'll be 2 of the days I'll be at Old Town, and then I'll be at Rosemont for one of the nights. So look it up online, Zanies.com, I think it is.
Very cool.
Or just Google Zanies, or I want to put it online, so you'll see.
I am going to be. It's Labor Day weekend, so I'm actually at Fairfield Comedy Club. One night only, headlining 2 shows there.
Great.
7 and 9 p.m. So if you're not down at the beach, please come and say hi. And I got much October out in your neck of the woods, Port Washington in Long Island, doing a theater show there.
Very nice.
Albany in November, Hartford in January, Omaha. Keep an eye out for that in February. That's going to be a chilly one. But lots of road dates coming up.
You have any 2020 dates you want to give them?
Yeah, what's 20?
You just think of them. You give them 2020.
Just to get it on your radar. You never know.
Absolutely.
So, thank you guys. As always, we love doing this podcast for you guys, and we love all the interaction. You guys are the best. We love the Defenders. So, as always, coming up and say hi to us if you see us in person.
Absolutely.
Please. And, rate, subscribe, tell a friend.
And we're always at the Cellar. Once again,
Absolutely.
Thank you again to the Cellar
Yes.
for letting us use your equipment. Thank you for having us this week at the club. And we'll see you in New York City.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.